There are struggling parents in districts. It simply provides a choice.
What you are doing and professing is to give these children a 10-foot rope and they're in a 12-foot hole. How do you expect them to get out of it?
School choice will inject competition into the education process.
There are very powerful forces pushing this issue on us.
As the Texas legislature wraps up a deal on school choice, private schools serving children with disabilities say they are wary of strings that might be attached to taking taxpayer dollars.
And Kelly, you and our investigative team analyzed data from across Central Texas and found even with help from the state, private schools will still be out of reach for many low-income families without significant financial aid and scholarships.
In the center of Austin's Terrytown, inside Rawson Saunders School, almost every inch of space is used as a classroom.
We turned our kitchen into classrooms because we were out of space.
The students here often learning in groups as small as 2.
And then I'll show you. This is a pretty common size for a math class.
Head of school Laura Steinbach said it's a model for teaching students who learn differently.
Light?
Light.
Specifically those diagnosed with dyslexia and dysgraphia.
You want help?
Yeah.
Lightning. We're a community of educators who really care about getting it right for kids, but not just kids, for their families.
Students with disabilities and low-income families have been at the center of pitches from Texas's Republican leaders to let parents direct taxpayer dollars to private schools of their choosing.
We wanted to make sure that parents of low income are going to have the same opportunity that the wealthy have.
But under the most recent iterations of education savings accounts, private schools would still be unaffordable for the state's poorest students. Our team analyzed data from the Texas Association of Private Schools and found at least 52 accredited private schools in the state that focus on students with disabilities. 10 of those schools don't post their tuition and wouldn't share the amount with us. Of the 42 that did, data shows the minimum $11,500 education savings account allotted to students with disabilities under Senate Bill 2 would fully cover tuition at just 3 of those schools. But at the maximum of $30,000 for students with disabilities, the ESA would cover tuition at 26 of those schools. Rawson Saunders is a nonprofit, and its tuition for the 2025-26 school year is more than $37,000. Let's say 20 families come to you and they can't afford to pay a dime more than what they were given.
Mm-hmm.
Are you guys in a position where you can kind of make it up with financial aid? What would that look like?
Well, we have a lot of families already on financial aid. So if we have 20 new families coming in that also need financial aid and they need a substantial amount of support, then there are 2 answers. There's the now and there's the later. It means that now we probably couldn't serve all of them. The later means that we'd need to build toward increasing our financial aid account so that we have more money to give.
Down the road, Capital School of Austin is also one of 4 accredited Texas private schools in Austin serving students with disabilities.
Capital School is a pretty special place. We have very small ratio classrooms. All of our classrooms have either a speech-language pathologist or a special education teacher with a master's degree.
The Capital School shares similar concerns about a looming education savings account program.
We are actually a very low tuition rate relatively compared to other programs in the state. We run a pretty tight budget as it is. We're not going to change the way that we admit students and that we allocate scholarship funds based on any kind of ESA voucher. We have to maintain those low ratios, but we also have to be able to pay the teachers to be able to provide that therapeutic learning environment.
Stephen Aleman is the senior policy specialist with Disability Rights Texas. He testified before lawmakers this session on ESAs.
The parent truly believes this is a better option for him. Is your answer, if you can afford it?
If a parent has all the information, of course we respect that. It is a parental choice, of course. With regard to this legislation and the policy established, the next issue is the amount of the extra voucher enough to cover the tuition of that particular facility?
In some cases it would work, but maybe not all.
Correct. I want to be very clear that we don't dispute that there are no private schools that are very good at serving the needs of students with disabilities. Our concern is that you're really creating sort of a false hope that I can go with this new ESA grant to a private school and I'm going to replicate what I get at the public school, when the reality is that there's just such a small handful of schools that are really good at meeting their needs and their capacity to expand. It's sort of very unlikely that they can turn from serving maybe 20 students to 200 students, even in a school year or two.
We put all of our ideas together.
Truthfully, I'm afraid of the impact on education. The concept is amazing. To be able to give money to families that they can devote to schools that make sense for their families. What I worry about is the students whose families are not in a position to take advantage of those funds. And that is a lot of families.
The Private School Association has supported Senate Bill 2 this session. That is contingent on 4 requirements, including the ESA program having religious liberty protections and private school autonomy language. On this, the association said some schools may wish to accommodate families using ESA by providing scholarships to cover any difference between the ESA amount and full tuition. This means more options and fewer barriers. The statement goes on to address parents directly saying, the choice is yours. Take advantage of this upcoming opportunity to empower your child's educational journey and discover a school that nurtures their potential.
Kelly, thank you so much. Online right now, we have maps showing tuition costs at private schools across Central Texas. It highlights which schools' tuition will be fully covered by the education savings accounts. It's broken down by grade level, and there are some schools that do not publicly disclose tuition information. Just go to KXAN.com under the Investigates tab and search for this story.